Good afternoon, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and I bring you guys another forgotten leader for y'all today. This is my OP06 Monkey.D.Garp deck. Now, I will start off with a bat. This is a very budget-friendly version of this deck. You would usually play a card called Gecko Moria. It's an 8 cost. I bet you never heard of it before. Every black deck and under the sun is playing that card. Personally, I think you should play it in this deck. However, I personally don't have a playset of it yet, so this deck list will not have it, but you can easily take out 4 cards I have in here. I'll show you those 4 cards, and then put in the 8-drop Gecko Morias, because 8-drop Gecko Moria is probably the best black card in the current game, and that's not an exaggeration, that's just a fact. That card is absolutely broken and possibly even bannable, so let's get straight into this. For all of you who are new to the One Piece card game, this is one of those leaders that is also slept on OP02. This is one of those leaders that never was. The red-black color scheme has never really been a meta color. That's just because red and black don't have the best synergies. Red's whole gimmick is killing things by power level, by reducing its power, but it's killing it that way. While black's whole gimmick is reducing by cost, and then killing it by its level being lower. So their whole dynamic of killing opponents' cards just go out the window, because red wants to kill by power and black wants to kill by lowering its cost. And his effect is more black than red. So this deck is usually focused on the black cards, because his leader effect is that when you put Dawn on a leader or character, basically you give up to your opponent's characters with a 7 or less cost, -1 cost this turn. So basically what that means is that if your opponent controls a 7 cost or less character on the field, when you place Dawn on your opponent's on your characters or your leader, you reduce a cost by 1 by that character. So for example, I'm going to show you this Perona here. Here's a Perona. When you put Dawn on this leader, or you put Dawn on a character, you reduce a character under 7 by 1, your choice. So if I want to put 2 Dawn on Garp, I can make Perona a 2 cost, basically. That's kind of his whole gimmick. I think that if he was a pure black leader, he would have seen much more competitive play, but because he is a 4-life black-red leader, and the red aspect doesn't really do anything for Garp himself, he has kind of been one of those forgotten leaders that a lot of people just don't talk about anymore. Which is kind of sad, because I think him and red-black Sabo are actually pretty interesting decks that have huge potential. Especially red-black Sabo. I think once we get the 8-cost Dragon card in OP07, that deck's playability jumps like tenfold, and I'll go over a deck list with that as soon as those cards are available. But for now, we're going over Garp because he's the original red-black leader, and most black leaders, if they're not Sakazuki or Gecko Moria, they're just kind of forgotten in history, which is kind of sad, because I actually do think this leader has potential. It's just most people see that he's a 4-life leader and say, why would I play this guy when I can just play Gecko Moria or Sakazuki? Even though Sakazuki's going to be banned in like 2 or 3 months. So let's get straight into this. So first things first, I am playing Kuzan. Kuzan is a very slept-on card. This card is a 10-cost card. It says, hey, on your turn, while he is on the field, he gives -5 cost to all characters your opponent controls. And then on play, he KOs an opponent's character with 0 cost, which is pretty insane. So on play, he kills a 5 or less character. And basically, he just allows you to just completely tempo out your opponent. I'm surprised more black decks don't play this card. This card literally says, if I can establish a Kuzan and your opponent does not have an out to Kuzan, he basically says none of your opponent's characters are ever leaving the field. Oh, you're playing Big Mom? Oh, that's a 10-drop? Who cares? It's now a 5 cost now. I reduced its cost by a little more using Garp's effect. And then you just KO it with a freaking Kobe or something. This card is your boss monster in the deck. This guy is absolutely mission critical. You want to see him at least once per game. Not to mention, if you end up seeing 2 per game and you play both of them, they do stack. So if you have 2 Kuzans on the field, your opponent's characters get reduced to 0 cost, which is pretty insane. Now, this is just a funny engine, just because it kind of thematically works with Garp. Not to mention, it's just a funny card. I'm playing the Shanks card. This card is actually from the OPO. I forgot what number the structure deck was, but this is from the Black Luffy structure deck. This card is actually pretty good. It's just a lot of people see it as a win more card, so they don't try to experiment with it. But his whole gimmick is that you can trash 1 card from your hand and KO up to all your opponent's 1-cost characters. So the idea of this gimmick is that you want to summon the 10-drop Kuzan, then get a Shanks in hand and play the Shanks, and then you get to kill basically every character with 6 or less cost for free. Because don't forget, because he's a 9 cost, you can just put 1 Don on Garp, lower a character by 1, and then you get to kill a 6 cost or lower character for free. Which is pretty solid. This card is kind of your board wipe for black. He's just not played as often because sadly both the Kuzan and the Shanks are not Navy cards. He is former Navy and he is of course a redhead pirate. So both cards are not searchable. It's one of those combos where you have to just draw them in hand, which and nowadays is probably a little harder to do, but I think it's possible. I think this combo will see play one day. But for now, it doesn't really see combo. Next, we're playing for Sakazuki. This is an old school black card. I think this card's still insane. There's a lot of really cool synergies in this card. The fact that it's a 6K 7000 that says, hey, trash 1 card from your hand and then kill a 5-cost or less character. It's just pretty good. Like, there's a lot of 5K blockers in this game, and this card just kills instantly. And I feel like with Garp's effect, you can reduce cost by a lot, and you just kill anything in the game, which is just really good. There's some really cool synergies we'll go over with this guy, but I feel like this is just one of those slept-on Navy cards that is seen play, but has definitely fallen off. These next 4 cards, I would say, would be my Gecko Morias if I did have them. That being 2 Smoker and 2 Monkey.D.Garp himself. I think all 4 of these cards can be replaced for Gecko Moria if you haven't placed on Gecko Morias. But ultimately, I went for Smoker and Garp because they kind of benefit the leader, and they're also 2 forgotten cards that you really don't see in many Navy decks anymore. Garp's whole gimmick is that you can rest him, and then you get to kill a character with 4 or less costs, and because you're playing Monkey.D.Garp himself, you basically KO a lot of cards. If you have him plus a 10-drop what's it called? A 10-drop Kuzan on the field. You basically get to kill anything in the game. And then Smoker basically gets double attack if there's a 0-cost character on the field, which is actually easier said than done. A lot of people play 1-cost characters or 2-cost characters. You just lower it by 2. Now this guy has double attack and he's an 8K because you put a Dawn on him, which is pretty solid. And I think these are just a solid additions to the deck. You can probably take these out for more counter if you want, or just for the Gecko Morias. But I personally don't own Gecko Morias, so you're just gonna do what you gotta do. Next, we're playing 3 Rob Lucci. You could play him at 4. I like him at 3. He has no counter. As you can see, there's already a abundance of non-counter in his deck. Rob Lucci is self-explanatory. You place 3 cards for your trash to the bottom, back to the deck in any order. And then you KO an opponent's character with 1 cost and 2 costs on the field, which is pretty good. We're also playing 3 Hina because Hina is just a really solid card in general. On play, you give a character -4 costs, and that allows you to lower 10 cost characters, so you can then use your Garp ability and then use another KO effect. This is our first counter in the game. We're playing 3 Kobe. Kobe just says, hey, trash 1, kill a character with 3 or less costs, which is pretty solid. Next, this is probably the most sleeper card. This is a very budget-friendly Garp deck, so this would usually be a Kuzan the 4-drop here, or Borsellino, I meant to say. But instead, I am playing Shirahoshi because she is a slept-on blocker, and I feel like she is actually one of the best black blockers in the entire game, and no one plays her because I don't know why. She came out in the structure deck, Black Luffy structure deck, and she's pretty insane. This is probably one of my favorite black cards. Not only is she a 4 cost, 1,000 counter, but on play as a blocker, she gives -4 cost to a character, which is absolutely insane. So there's a really cool combo with Sakazuki here. If you're at 10 Dawn, you can play Shirahoshi, reduce line by 4, then play Sakazuki, and then you get to KO basically a 9 cost character for free, because this will be reducing by 4, and then he'll kill a 5 or less character. So this allows you to kill 9 drops, which is pretty cool. And there's some pretty powerful 9 drops in the game. Like I said, we have some really good ones, and this is just a really slept on card that I feel like more people should play in black decks. And it's also a cheap alternative to if you can't afford Borsalinos, or you can't afford the Kuzan card. Because this card, unlike Kuzan, does it on play. So most people, if they see a Kuzan get summoned, they just kill it immediately. They just use the removal on it. This card says, hey, I'm playing it. It's a blocker. It has counter, and I'm getting that -4 immediately, which is just pretty solid. Next, we're playing 4 Tashigis. We need some 2Ks, not to mention this card reduces cost, which is kind of what this deck needs. We're also playing 4 Suru, because this is just another black staple card, which is just really good. Both these cards reduce cost to an opponent's character, so why not? We're playing a Navy deck, so we're playing 4 Brand New, because Brand New is also just a really solid card in general. And then we're also playing the 1 Marshy. I had a 1 card slot. I didn't know what to put in, so I kind of just put in a Mancherry, because it can add back one of your 2Ks back to hand. And it has 1,000 counters, so it's just a flex spot. I didn't know what to put here. I could have put the 3rd Ice Age, but I decided to go for Mancherry instead. I'm playing 4 6 King Pistols, because this is a deck with like 20 non-counter cards, so this card can help save you big time by discarding all these monsters with no counter. And then we're also playing 4 Great Eruptions. This card is literally just Upstart Goblin and reduces cost. Until this card is banned, we'll be playing it. If you're probably wondering what will be the alternative once this card gets banned, in OPO 5.5, which is in May, that's the collection set, I believe. Or actually, it's either the collection set or OPO 7. I forget which. But we're getting a new version of this card that's just better. It's like 1 cost, or it's like a 2 cost card that reduces by 3. It's a different kind of Great Eruption card. And it basically does what this card does, but better. So this card might be banned, but there's going to be an alternative for it literally in like a couple months. And then finally, we're playing 2 Ice Age, because this is one of the best removals cards in the game for black. Reduce the character by 5, then you just kill it easy. It's a 1 cost card. Also, it has a cool trigger where you KO a 3 cost character, which is just pretty solid. So that is it for this list. I hope you all enjoy. This is the most optical Garp list. Probably not, but this is definitely very casual and fun. And this is a leader, like I said, a lot of people have forgotten. So it's up to you guys how you want to play it and experiment with it. And I really hope you guys do. I think there's a lot of black leaders that kind of just been thrown to the race side, because they see Blue Black Sakazuki, and they see Garp, and they're like, why the hell would I play Garp when we have Blue Black Sakazuki or Gecko Moria? But I feel like that's just unfair to these older leaders, and maybe one day these leaders will come back in the meta somehow. A lot of people doubt it, but you never know. So that's kind of what this channel is about. It's bringing light and shedding light on a card game that I love, and shedding light on a leader you may have just forgotten about that might actually be crazy. So that is it for my deck list. Like I said, this deck list is just for show. It's just kind of showing you a lot of forgotten black cards that have potential. Even if you end up not playing Garp, who knows? Maybe you saw a card in this list that you end up playing in your Gecko Moria deck. Like, I really do think that Shirahoshi card is just a slept-on black card. So that's really all I got. Hope you all enjoy. See you all in the next one, and tell me what forgotten leader I should do next. That's all I got. See ya.